The Cincinnati Bengals right now are probably the scariest team in the AFC. I don't think anybody wants to run into them in the playoffs. I think Kansas City or Buffalo is praying that one or the other does their dirty work for them and knocks them out because they don't want to do it. Nobody wants that. But I'm going to stand by what I said in the beginning of the season, what I've said in the middle of the season. I still believe the Ravens will find a way to win this division. I know they aren't playing spectacular. I know that they've played in so many close games that they should have lost, and they played in close games that they should have won and ended up losing. Uh, I think with Lamar being hurt, this is an opportunity for Cincinnati to really seize. But I think ultimately Lamar's going to be fine, and that last game of the season is going to decide this division. Buffalo and then and Baltimore to end the season. That's a tough one.
I thought we were going with the Steelers Browns Week 18 showdown right there. Lamar Jackson week to week with a knee sprain. Fortunately, it's not season ending, and yet currently, when you look at the AFC standings, in spite of all the Bills' injuries on the defensive end, they're the number one seed. The Chiefs are the number two. The Ravens are the number three at 8-4, first in the AFC North, and my Tennessee Titans at 7-5 will hold strong in the AFC South. When you talk about this Ravens team, they have the Steelers this upcoming week. If TJ Watt looks closer to that player he was before the injury, which he has in the last couple of weeks, that can be a loss very easily at Heinz Field. Also, got to say, a year ago today, I was at Heinz Field and I watched a Steeler team that was heavy underdogs versus the Ravens, not at home, but no one really expected them to beat what was initially number one seed at this time last year. And guess what? The Steelers beat them. So I feel like this upcoming week for the Steelers is a great opportunity to kind of ruin the Ravens season the way they did a year ago. Then after that for Baltimore, they got the Browns, the Falcons, the Steelers again, and then the Bengals. I'm putting my money on that Week 18 showdown, Justin, going to Cincinnati.
Yeah, no, I think Justin at this point, the only reason the Ravens really, I mean, if they had the road that the Bengals had, I wouldn't have that confidence in them because they've just been putrid for like 4 or 5 games where they've just blown leads, and it's just that is not good, and that is not what champions are made of, and I really just don't think this team has. I mean, they have high
Use
aspirations. I just don't think they can reach them with how putrid they have been throughout the season. They really continuously show us who they are, and they are a team that, even with a lead, they cannot sustain it. Um,
How
so
are
I
they
just
getting a
don't.
lead? Who's Tyler Huntley going to be thrown to?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
I don't
screwing
even
them
remember
over.
the last time Mark Andrews found the end zone.
It's been a while. It's just not good. So yeah, even if they make the playoffs, I think they get bounced in the first round. I'm going to be honest. It's just the Ravens have, from like the first 3 weeks where we were talking so highly of Lamar to now, it's just this Ravens team has taken a step back, in my opinion.
I know this isn't the topic, but does this season change how you feel about the Ravens extension and how much they should be
Absolutely.
giving him?
Mark Andrews, Justin, hasn't scored a touchdown since their Week 6 loss to the Giants. And for the Ravens, it's funny to me. Yeah, you've drafted Rashad Bateman, but to me, it's quite clear for the offensive coordinator, their passing concepts feel elementary, which just adds insult to injury because in this offense, just like Buffalo, it's all reliant on that one superstar quarterback. And so if Lamar or Josh Allen doesn't play his best game, and the defense, as it often does, is choking leads to that secondary, can't contain the opposing quarterback, this very clearly is a team with Super Bowl aspirations that can't make it out the first round. And I'm starting to, the same way I was Mike Tomlin start this year, question how good of a coach John Harbaugh really is. Because if he was so good, I feel his offensive coordinator and Greg Roman would be doing a much better job with this team. Now, this year they do rank ninth defensively, which is a little bit surprising given how much they struggle in the fourth, but it does make sense. They found ways to kind of scrummage some tougher losses like they did this last week against the Broncos. 9 points given up. But it's quite clear to me for Lamar Jackson, and not only does he's earned whatever blank check he wants, but the Ravens are failing him. They're not doing a good job elevating him. The offensive line has been
Yeah,
average, and
that
making matters even worse, the running game this year hasn't been that great either.
It's been
yeah,
bad.
that's where we fundamentally disagree on this. I mean, I don't know how you blame John Harbaugh or Greg Roman when it's clear. I mean, Greg Roman has done the best job you can at building an offense completely around Lamar Jackson's skill set and has, in my opinion, and this is where we disagree, in my opinion, has really elevated him because of the system he put him in.
Yeah,
It's not
but
his fault that people don't want to come play for Lamar's style of football, receiving wise. It's not their fault, John.
what?
What can they do? And then when they go
Then you
get
trade for a receiver. This isn't that hard of a concept.
receivers
And
don't want to come
granted,
to that. You're not getting
no,
an elite receiver for that.
my guy.
What are you going to
While
say?
they've maximized Lamar as a runner, that does not lead to postseason success when you're that one-dimensional with that much a limited
Okay,
receiver.
but again, John, who's coming? Nobody wants to come play for that style of offense. Why do you think Marquise Brown left?
Then why not acquire that high-end receiver? Because you
Who?
had one sort
No,
of
but
wide receiver
how?
too,
In
Rashad
what
Bateman.
way? Signing?
A trade.
Trade.
Nobody's gonna want to come play. They're not gonna go. They're
It's
not.
Not the
not how
it's
it
not the player's
works.
choice.
You
That's not how
trade for
trades
a
work.
player.
Okay, so
This is
who's
the
gonna do
NBA.
that? Because John, you were literally telling me when I was getting hyped up about Brady coming back that there's no receivers on the market. So please enlighten me.
And I gave you a list of potential receivers.
Yeah,
So
but
I
okay,
keep that
that's
DJ
same line.
Moore,
if yeah,
Brandon Ayuk,
okay,
DeAndre Hopkins,
highly doubt.
Deontay
They're
Johnson.
not
The
gonna.
Steelers wouldn't
They're
move
not.
him. That's the other
It's
guy.
not. That's not happening. Okay,
Honestly, that's the only way I can see
it's not happening.
Lamar and the Ravens ever taking that next step. And yes, I think it can happen. I think the Ravens would just have to be willing to kind of pull a Rams and say F these picks and sell out for a title.
But again,
You got
that's
to get
just where
yourself
I disagree with you, John. Is that I can't, I don't understand how you sit there and blame the coaches when it's the GM's job to surround the team with the talent.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
don't blame
coaches,
John
The
Harbaugh.
GM has
yeah,
done a great job in the draft. They've maximized the capital.
Yeah.
I mean, a first-round pick for Marquise Brown, speeding away to Arizona, that's pretty good. Pretty freaking good.
and what did he do with that first round pick? Did he get another receiver for him? Okay. So again, you blame Roman and Harbaugh for reasons I don't understand. They got the team that was put in front of them. It's basically like playing poker. I got the cards in front of me. This is what I can do with it. And I feel like they've done more than enough with that hand. I just don't know how you blame them.
I think they're pretty much handcuffed as to how far this offense can go because of the weapons that are out there. I mean, Rashad Bateman, even him alone, isn't enough to elevate this offense. And now without him, your number one threat is Mark Andrews and a bunch of probably third string wide receivers on other teams, third and fourth stringers. So that's why Mark Andrews isn't lighting the world on fire because all the attention's on him.
And again, I will say, I bring up Marquise Brown. He left why? Because he wasn't getting the touches. Okay.
Well, they didn't want to pay Marquise Brown, and then they traded for a off-ball linebacker and
Also,
Roquan Smith.
he
So they're gonna
didn't.
have to extend.
Also,
So
he
that's
didn't like playing in that style because no receiver likes playing in that
if you
style.
were cap friendly, they would have kept him. The reason they moved him was for
Now
flexibility.
you're
And a
asking him
great
to take
draft
less
pick.
money.
If you get offered a first-round pick for a receiver that's not top 25, you're probably going to make that move.
Okay, I'm not.
And so for the Ravens,
Again, you're arguing a completely different argument that I'm not arguing. I'm arguing the reason. One of the reasons he left. If you want to say it was because that was their reason for getting rid of him. I'm talking about him personally.
it's weird to me. You're not going to mention how Lamar has improved so much as a passer. I mean, he's a complete quarterback. He can make the throws. It's a matter of the system being limited because of the personnel. So yes, Greg Roman, he's maximized Lamar Jackson the same way in the NBA. James Harden and Luka Doncic can be maximized. But until you get that second star to complement them, elevate them, make explosive plays, this Ravens offense is not going to win them the biggest games in January.
Okay, and let that explosive player come and then not get his opportunities, and now he's going to be making less money because he's not getting the catches and the incentives, and he's going to be running his ass off running routes and not getting the football a lot. Let him start struggling, let the team start struggling, let Lamar's passing capabilities, while you say he's improved, and I agree with that, he's still not great. He's good passer. He's not great though. Let that happen, and then we'll see about in a year or two if that receiver comes knocking on the GM's door and says, "Get me the hell out of Baltimore because I don't want to play
But
the style offense anymore."
the threat of Lamar running is what amplifies his passing ability. And you kind of
Nobody's
forgot
arguing that
here,
point.
Lamar Jackson got injured last year. So in those weeks where he wasn't playing, Marquise Brown's playing backup quarterback.
Nobody's
Now, when we
arguing
look
that
at
point.
Lamar Jackson when he's healthy for his entire career, his record,
I thought wins and losses weren't a quarterback stat, so why are you bringing that up?
they do.
Oh, now they are.
When
Okay.
it's all built around you and you are the
Yeah,
driving factor
I
in the
got you.
success,
So when it's
Lamar's 45
necessary
and
for
60.
John's argument, they are. Gotcha.
No, you're just being irrational.
I'm not
When
being rational. It's just it seems like you're picking and choosing. So if it's Josh Allen, their quarterback stats matter, right? If it's Lamar, it matters. If it's Patrick Mahomes, it matters. If it's Jalen Hurts, does it
it
matter?
matters to
Because the
their
offense is
quarterback.
built around Jalen Hurts. It does.
The
Where are we
difference here
picking and choosing?
is
But for
the
Tom,
Ravens'
for
offense, you're missing
Peyton,
the point.
for those guys, it doesn't matter. Gotcha.
The Ravens' offense is built around one single player. And so his wins and losses should be correlated to how important he is as a guy. If you take Lamar Jackson out of Baltimore, they miss the playoffs as they did last season. It's no coincidence. And Tyler Huntley, by the way, has a very similar play style. Last year they were 7-4 when Lamar was healthy.
John, you take Patrick Mahomes off the Chiefs, they're not making the playoffs. You take Josh Allen off the Bills, they're not making the playoffs. You take Tom Brady off the Buccaneers, they're even worse than they are right now.
That's
You
not the
take
point.
it.
I'm just talking about Lamar Jackson here.
Well, I'm
I don't
just
really
saying
care
though,
about those
it's
other
just a little
quarterbacks.
inconsistency there.
No, it doesn't matter. This discussion's about Lamar. That's all I'm talking about.
Okay, I got you.
If you ask me, are quarterback stats a win for Tua? I'll say, sort of. He's winning games, but it's because of the entire offense, and he
But
is
every
a part
time
of
I
that.
brought it up, it's not.
Well, you
Gotcha.
know what? I think one of the things that I should highlight is we've spoken a ton about all these quarterbacks like Tua, like Josh Allen, and how in their third year, their team would go out there and get them a number one. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, um, the best receiver
Justin
that
Jefferson.
yeah, Justin Jefferson, the best receiver that Lamar's ever played with is Hollywood Brown, and that was from the draft. And prior to that, probably number two. I'm not going to say Mark Andrews because he's a tight end, but Michael Crabtree.